Hey, what's up you guys? Woody Jacob here to bring you a video talking about my top 10 favorite characters from the Vampire Diaries and the Originals universe. Alright, so this is a video I've kind of been meaning to do for a while. You guys know how much I absolutely love both shows. The Vampire Diaries has seen better days. The seasons 1 through 4 were better than the last few. But there have still been very good moments, throughout each and every season. I still very much love the show and will follow it to the end, no question. And the Originals has really just become something absolutely amazing on its own as well. You guys know how much I enjoyed that. I thought about doing separate videos, like top 10 favorite Vampire Diaries characters and like another top 10 favorite Originals characters. But then I realized it would save, a bit of time, but also it would make sense to just combine them into one video since they're all, they all exist in the same world and stuff like that. So I thought doing it like that would make sense, like this, I should say. Of course, there are some characters that are off the list that I, debated about putting on. Like there aren't, too many Originals specific characters on this list. But characters like Marcel and, Freya and stuff like that, I definitely like more than characters like Matt and, people like them. So it kind of gives you an idea of, where the honorable mentions would go. I'd have honorable mentions like, Marcel and Haley and stuff like that, Freya too. Even Camille from the Originals is, kind of close to cracking the list too. But the Vampire Diaries has also just been on a lot longer, so these Vampire Diaries exclusive characters have, even the dead ones, we've had more of a longer time to get to know them, to see those characters develop and stuff. But just know that some of my runner-ups would be Marcel, Freya, Haley, Camille, people like that. But no, I won't really put Caroline or Davina on the list, sorry. Caroline, I appreciate her development, but, her and Davina I just find to be kind of annoying if you watch my reviews. But yeah, so let's get to it. Like I said, this does include dead characters too. I thought about just including characters that are still alive, but I thought if it was really a favorite of all time list, it should include, any character dead or alive. If they really meant that much to me, they should still be on the list, right? Alright, let's start with number 10, and that's a big one, related to what I just said. My 10th favorite character in the whole TVD and Originals world is Lexi Branson. Of course, she left. She was hardly on the show, she's hardly on the show, but she left such an awesome impression. She's probably one of, if not the best guest star we have on the show, We've seen her back, first back in season 1. I think it was episode 8, I want to say. Let me see. I believe it was episode 8, right around there at least. Yes, okay, episode 8 of season 1, 162 Candles. Of course she showed up in that, then Damon kills her at the end of the episode. But throughout we see her, and after that we see her in flashbacks, and we see her appear as a ghost a couple times, which is just really touching and awesome when Stefan's able to see her again. She even came back during season 3 in Ghost World to help Elena sort of see how there's still that part, the good part from left inside there somewhere. She just has to be able to break through to get it. Because, Lexi is such a great character because she's just played off as a really likable person. Genuinely, one of the most genuinely good people, we've met on the show. Either show, really. She helps Stefan, sort of gain control of his vampire urges initially. She just has a huge heart and really is a huge key to, where these characters are at. So I really like that, too. She also gave Elena some great advice as well. Just really memorable, and I did make a tribute to her quite a while ago. She definitely deserved it. And at this point, we know that she supposedly found peace, when she, stopped the guy from, when she helped Stefan, or Damon, when she refused to go through, to get back from the other side because she wanted to make sure Stefan had his brother back. She sacrificed herself, and she supposedly found peace before she was, blown off or whatever, like Katherine was, or sucked up and stuff like that. But in a way, I'd like to see another flashback with her again, which I think is possible. And one thing that I wish we would see that we never seen was like another scene between her and Damon, like in the present day. Because Damon's a very different person compared to what he did to her, with Bourbon Street and also, of course, killing her. So I'd be really curious to see what they'd say to each other now. I feel like Damon would be I think he's regretful for it already. But I'd like to see how they talk to each other now if they see each other again. I'd kind of like to have that closure, But still a fantastic character. I really do miss her on the show. Alright, so that was number 10, Lexi. Number 9 is Rebecca Michelson. Really, really cool character, played by Claire Holt. Of course, the sister to, Klaus and Elijah Michelson, one of the original vampires. We see her for the first time in season 3, and, she comes off like your, bratty, stuck up sort of vampire type of character, and she kind of is, but she develops, she changes, she really has some deep, not resentment, but sort of, she's been mistreated by Klaus like many of her siblings over the years, she's quick to love, but, Klaus has killed every person she's ever felt for, and, especially as they go into the originals, they do a good job of really developing their sibling relationship and showing their history and stuff like that. And Rebecca just really matures into a better and better person as both the Vampire Diaries and the originals go on, which is really cool to see. And she's just really entertaining to watch too. She's like one of the main vampires with an attitude, maybe just below Katherine Pierce on that level. But yeah, so really enjoyable character, and I still like seeing her on the originals now. But she's more of a guest star at this point, but still good, character exists, and she does show up to help out her siblings once in a while, so that's really cool. I could say more about her. I could go through everything she's ever done or been involved in. But this video would go on for over an hour, maybe 2 hours if I did that for every character. But yeah, number 9, Rebecca Michelson. Alright, number 8, Bonnie Bennett, played by Kat Graham. And, I really warmed up to her character more and more as the Vampire Diaries has went on. And in a way, she's almost one of the more overlooked characters on the show, at least as far as, how recognized she is for what she actually does on the show. But really, when it comes down to it, she is probably the fan favorite female that's left on the show right now. A lot of people wanted to see her sort of take the lead role after Nina Dobrev left the show, as opposed to Caroline getting more focus. Of course, she's the witch, she's the main witch on the show, so because of that, she's a fairly powerful witch when she is in control and when she does have her power. So, of course, because of that, she's been key to a lot of the storylines, like helping against Klaus and, bringing people back and forth, bringing herself back from the dead. And, so it's really a cool character, best friend to Elena, so I really like their friendship. And, Kat Graham just really acts the part so well, she can do every side to the character, the touching side, the sort of stubborn yet determined side to her, and just a really cool character. And I liked how, her and Damon's, sort of butting heads developed into butting heads, but pretty much best friends at this point. I really liked how that changed in season 6 especially. She looks good with short or long hair too, so either one's fine. Like I said, I could go into more detail for each of them, but that would just take way too long. And I know you guys probably aren't going to watch this whole thing anyway, so we should probably move on. But yeah, number 8, Bonnie Bennett, just an awesome character. And she could very well move further up the list as the show goes on, we'll see. Alright, I probably should have grabbed a drink or something, my throat's already dry. But that's probably because I just did a video earlier about Underworld. But anyway, yeah. Number 7 will be Elijah Michelson, played by Daniel Gillies. Just a really awesome character that's been developed very well ever since he appeared in season 2 of the Vampire Diaries. He's supposed to be the contrast to Klaus, his brother. He's supposed to be the moral, honorable one and stuff like that. We found out that he has a lot of buried secrets and a darker side to him as well. And the brother relationship between him and Klaus, is even deeper than Damon and Stefan go. And, it's the layers between them, the history. It's definitely the best dynamic about the originals when it comes down to it. And he's just played really well. He has like that sophistication and extra oomph about him too. But at the same time, his moments of like more comical stuff are really cool too. And Daniel Gillies is able to show every emotion of the character very, very well. And I was happy to see him get more and more an expanded role as the Vampire Diaries went on, instead of being killed off. And I'm happy that he's in the originals, and he's definitely one of the key essential characters to all of it. I made a tribute to him as well, so you can look that up. So number 8 would have to be Elijah Michelson, man. And like I said, I would love to say more about each of them, but time and so Number 6 would be Elena Gilbert. And some people would want her higher on the list, some people wouldn't want her on the list at all. She has a lot of haters out there. But of course, she's our, at least seasons 1 through 6, she's our main protagonist. She's our female lead. Nina Dobrev just did such a great job playing her throughout all the seasons she was in. Of course, she at first is in this, this girl caught in the middle of, this vampire world she's suddenly made aware of. But she really develops and matures and becomes more accustomed to the world and how to deal with it as the show goes on. And when she becomes a vampire, like at the end of season 3, going into season 4, it really takes the character in an interesting and new direction. And of course, as the relationship between her and Damon developed, that was one of the main parts to the show, which I think was just really well written and well done. Even though it probably did take longer than a lot of people would have wanted, but and she's technically not dead now either. She's asleep, because that spell Lily had Kai put on her and stuff like that. But I do think part of the ending of the series, when it does end, is going to be Elena returning. Have Nina Dobrev come back even for just the final episode and appear to Damon and them reunite. I think that's going to be part of it. That's going to be awesome. I'll be so happy. But I definitely miss her on the show. Not that's terrible now, but she's definitely like something that's missing at this point. So I definitely miss her. Nina Dobrev always did a great job. And I'll talk more about Nina Dobrev once we get to Katherine. And spoiler, she is on this list too, even ahead of Elena. But we'll talk about that in a couple minutes. Number 5 would be Alaric Saltzman, played by Matthew Davis. Really, he's not technically one of the main characters, but he's one of the more important, supporting characters we have. You meet him sort of midway, towards the later part of season 1. He's this history teacher who has a history with Damon. He's hunting vampires because his wife was, supposedly killed by one. We later found out that, Isabel, she was turned and stuff, and sort of out of her own will. But what really changes, is him and Damon actually develop a friendship, even though they butt heads and disagree on a lot of things. They still have this bond. It isn't exactly like any other for Damon or Alaric's perspective, Of course, he's just a very sympathetic character, too, because he lost his wife, through one way or another. He meets Jenna, Elena's aunt, but of course she's killed off at the end of season 2, so he loses someone else that he cared for like that. He eventually meets Jo in season 6, but we all know what happens to her right at their wedding when she's actually fucking pregnant, man. I mean, sorry for my language, but I do curse once in a while. So it's a very, very tragic character, really, too. I've seen Alaric be happy, but that's always just ripped away from him. And he has an alcohol problem, too, man. And that seat next to Damon at the grill, that's only for one person, okay? But really, I just hope Alaric survives throughout the rest of the series at this point. And I hope he has some kind of permanent happiness that they leave him off with. We'll see, though. Really cool character, really relatable, like I said. You can really sympathize with him and feel for him. Of course, he becomes sort of like a father figure to Elena and Jeremy as well, which is really an awesome dynamic. So, number 5, Alaric Saltzman, man. Like I said, I could talk about him for a while, too, but you guys know. As I said about 20 times by now, I don't have that much time. Number 4 is going to be Stefan Salvatore, played by Paul Wesley. Of course, he's sort of like our main male lead in a way, but Damon sort of ends up overshadowing him eventually. But he's still that character we meet right off the bat. He's a vampire. We have our you sort of like see through him as well as Elena, especially in the earlier part of the series. And, he's thought as, the more good vampire to Damon, sort of like Elijah is to Klaus, but he has a lot of, deep, dark, stories and history in his past. He at his darkest, he's arguably worse than Damon. Even Damon is worse too, So he's really a more dynamic character than you'd initially think. Because at first when my girlfriend was watching it, she liked Stefan, but she thought, he was kind of like a wooden, just flat character. But then as, season 1 got further and further, and, we see more of that Ripper side of him, we see a lot more of his struggles and just how interesting he can actually be. And of course, even though I definitely support Damon being with Elena, at this point I still do look fondly upon when Elena and Stefan were together. And I still like how they show they still have a deep bond and connection, even if they're just friends at this point. They still do deeply care about each other, so I really like that too. And Stefan Salvatore, man, he's played really well by Paul Wesley as well. Like one of the latest examples of that is season 6 episode 5 when Damon returns. That scene of Paul Wesley talking to Damon at supposed grave and stuff, saying he's lost. Paul Wesley is actually really not just acting in that scene; he was actually crying for that. So he's just shown some really raw acting in the role, and he's definitely one of the strongest actors on the show, I think. And just a character we can't really do without in the Vampire Diaries at this point. And just like Klaus and Elijah, Damon and Stefan, their brother dynamic, their relationship, is like one of the key dynamics of this, one of the like driving forces that really made it what it is to me. So number 4, Stefan Salvatore. All right, 3 more. Number 3 is going to be Katherine Pierce, or Katerina Petrova, played by Nina Dobrev again. Of course, Nina Dobrev played both Katherine and Elena, and yes, I do put Katherine over Elena. Some people, again, will be shocked by that. Some people will probably agree with me because they hate Elena. But Katherine, why do I put her ahead? Why is she one of my top 3 favorite characters of all time on these shows? She's really a dynamic character, really interesting, multi-layered, but she, of course, has that, more bitchy side to her. She's kind of hard to trust. She's more about her own, individual survival and what's best for her. But at times we do see a crack of her humanity come out, and it's really just awesome scenes when we see that. And I do like her attitude. It's kind of infectious. Her personality is pretty awesome in my opinion. She has a pretty dark history too, with what Klaus did to her family, and you found out about her daughter Nadia at one point too, in the final season she's in. So really, and that final season she was in, season 5, and we really see all her history, and Stefan, supposedly helps her try to find peace and stuff. It's just really touching and well acted, and huge credit to Nina Dobrev for being able to play, two, physically identical, but yet end up being very different characters. She just has such a range, going back and forth between them. Katherine, there's just a lot going on with her, and, a person I talked to, or I have talked to, actually says the character helped her overcome, some issues she was having in her own personal life. And, so that just says a lot about not only the character, but also the show, too. I do miss Katherine at this point. I mean, I get why her days were numbered on the show, but in a way, I think she almost deserved happiness in the end, and really, in my perfect world, she'd end up with Stefan at the end of the series. But I always look fondly upon her. I have made a couple tributes to her. She's one of the focuses of my latest Angels on the Moon tribute I just put out yesterday. So you guys can check that out. I could go on for a while about her history, her backstabbing, her plots, her schemes, how both Damon and Stefan were, just mindlessly in love with her for a while there. It's kind of where the story kind of starts for both of them, at least when the series begins. But we see flashbacks, later on and stuff. Just an awesome character, I think, really entertaining, interesting at the same time. Cool character. So, number 3, Katherine Pierce, / Katerina Petrova. And yeah, final two, top two characters in the Vampire Diaries and Originals world. My number two favorite character of all that is Damon Salvatore, played by Ian Somerhalder. To me, he's like the face of the show. Yes, early on, I think Stefan was more of the lead to him, but I think as time went on, Damon just became a more developed and focused on character. So I sort of consider him the face of the show at this point, at least as far as males go. He is the main lead at this point in the series, I think, in my opinion. A little bit more so than Stefan. Just where we see him start off at the beginning of the series, sort of coming off like that typical arrogant douche, like villainous type of evil brother and stuff. But we find out, like, by episode 3, Friday Night Bites, there's a completely different side to him, a different purpose in his mind to what he's doing. And he's probably the most well-developed character on the Vampire Diaries individually, as far as, Vampire Diaries exclusive characters go. The way he changes. He still has that attitude and, killer instinct about him. But at the same time, he's, been able to care more for people ever since he got involved with Elena. And, as season 1 went on, we see him change a little bit, going to season 2 as well, and onward and so forth. There's just a lot I could say about him, a lot about Damon Salvatore. He's sarcastic, he's funny, so he's, definitely not a dull character by any means. Ian Somerhalder just plays him completely to an excellent level. There's just so much I could say about him. And my favorite character, second to this next person I'm going to talk about. But yeah, so number 2 is Damon Salvatore, no question about it. And my number 1 favorite character of all of the Vampire Diaries and the originals is going to have to be Klaus Mikaelson, played by Joseph Morgan. Oh man, I absolutely love this character, man. If you guys have been watching my originals reviews, you know how much I enjoy the character. Joseph Morgan plays every side to him so damn well. He shows every emotion, just so clearly and just so raw and emotionally. And Klaus, he is absolutely brilliant. He's practically a genius with dealing with enemies and stuff like that. And he's a hybrid too, so he's probably the most powerful vampire type of character we have on the show. And just his history with Michael and where we see him start off on the show, as being still probably the biggest and most significant villain we've had on the Vampire Diaries, to becoming this overall loving and caring father. By the time the originals, gets going and stuff like that. Especially now at this point in season 3. So he's really, in my opinion, the most well-developed character in any of these shows. And he still has that edge about him too. He still has his issues to work out, that's for sure. But he has sort of let himself care a little bit more. He has sort of allowed himself to show that side of himself a little bit more, especially to characters like Cammy. Of course, his history with Elijah is one of the best things about the show as well. And, he's hilarious. He has that, sarcastic attitude like Damon has. And, whenever Joseph Morgan, as Klaus is on screen, he just absolutely steals the show, Even when episodes, sort of decent, Klaus comes on and you automatically want to pay attention, hang on to his every word. Just awesome, an awesome character. One of my favorite leads, not only my favorite lead of the Vampire Diaries and the originals, but also one of my favorite leads of any show of all time. That's how much I absolutely love the character. And I could definitely talk about him for a hell of a long time. Just the history, that I think it's really rich and it's all really well built. His relationship with Michael, is very interesting, very back and forth. I could talk about him for a while, but my throat's really dry at this point. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As I said, my number 1 favorite character of both the Vampire Diaries and the originals would have to be Klaus Mikaelson. But let's run through the list again real quick. Number 10 of both shows, my favorite would have to be Lexi. Number 9 would be Rebecca. 8 is Bonnie. 7 is Elijah. 6 is Elena. 5 Alaric. 4 Stefan. 3 Katherine. 2 Damon. And number 1, as I said, Klaus Mikaelson, man. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was sort of long, but as long as my top favorite Walking Dead characters, that one was almost an hour. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, MoviePilot, and lookforInvincibleDead.com. As I said, I will be doing a video similar to this for Z Nation and the 100 eventually. We'll see. Those will probably be my next couple of videos along with the Christmas haul videos and stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know who your favorite characters are from both shows in the comments below. And as I said, honorable mentions would include characters like Marcel and Freya, people like that. So yeah, as well as Anna too. I forgot about her. But yeah, she'd probably be pretty close to cracking the list too. But yeah, hope you guys have a good day, and I'll catch you next time. And peace.